Building a personal brand is one of the most important things you will probably ever do with your business, and also one of those things that is the hardest to do in your business because it's you representing yourself, and sometimes we have a really hard time doing that. So I am so excited to welcome my past client, Ati Grinspun, onto the podcast. She's actually the third person I ever worked with in my business, and honestly, I learned so much from her. We were just starting our businesses at the same time, and what I learned from her in the personal branding standpoint is still stuff that I use to this day in business, and I'm just so grateful to be welcoming her into the podcast cafe. I thought that this was a perfect episode to share since she was so foundational to the growth of Espresso podcast production, that this had to be the same week as my business turning 5 years old. I did a whole episode all about that, I think 2 episodes back, so make sure you go and listen. But let's get right into this episode with Ati Grinspun. And she has a really exciting announcement about her event coming up. And if you're listening to this after the event, Ati's just an amazing person to connect with. She has had multiple events. She's probably going to have more. So go connect with her on Instagram and you will be inspired. She is fiery and just so incredible at what she does. Welcome to the Podcast Cafe, where we're serving up everything you need to know about podcasting, from tips, stories, and strategies for podcasters from podcasters. I'm your host, Haley Hayhurst, the founder of Espresso Podcast Production, a full-service podcast agency helping business owners, creatives, and thought leaders launch and grow their shows. Whether you're just starting out or want to take your podcast to the next level, this is the place for you. Each week, we'll dive into practical tips, actionable strategies, and of course, stories from other podcasters so that you can build up a podcast that you love and that works for your business. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's get started. Welcome to the Podcast Cafe. Ati, oh my gosh, it is so good to have you in the Podcast Cafe.
Oh my God, I am so excited. I texted you yesterday, like when I looked on my calendar, I was like, girl, I can't wait.
I know. It's been a while since we chatted, but just for the listeners to know, you were the second client I ever worked with in my business before I even knew I was growing a business, honestly. So you've been so foundational to what I have now. So I just have to say thank you so much.
And I'm so proud of you. And I think that this is something that people don't realize. Number one, let's actually talk about this for a second. 5 years in business, right? Mm-hmm. You're about, is it 5 years or like you're turning 5 years?
5 years, yep.
Okay, so that number one, I was a baby business owner. Mm-hmm. You were even a more baby business owner. And look at us bitches doing
I know. We're killing it.
But I think one of the things that it's so remarkable about actually your community listening to this, and even my people, right? Which is, guys, you just have to keep going. Mm-hmm. Like, building a business doesn't happen overnight, and you started as an assistant.
Right. Exactly.
You used to be a VA.
Exactly. I know. And now I have a full business of podcast production.
I remember when you told me about the idea, and I was like, oh my God, I love it. And actually, I want to share these because I do share this a lot inside my community and with some of my clients. I don't know if you remember this. When I first reached out to you, and I have no idea how we connected, mm-hmm. I was like, I know that I need help with my Instagram, but I don't think that I can afford to hire somebody. Can I hire you for an hour a day?
Yep.
Do you remember that?
I do, yes.
And it felt such a stretch. And I remember 2 weeks later, I was like, oh, I definitely think we can do more than an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
But where I'm going with this is like the growth, you have to take the scare action sometimes and the inspire action and like really take action even when you're scared to do the thing, because that's the only way to fucking grow.
It is. It is 100%. Like, I Yeah, well, I mean, we're here to talk about you, but I really took that opportunity to find what I really wanted to do. And I loved being your assistant, but I realized VA work was just part of like what I could be doing. And so I stopped doing virtual assistant work and went all into podcast production.
I still remember you even helped me onboard Kayla, or no?
Yes, yeah.
Which Kayla is still with me.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't
She's so
it
sweet.
crazy? Kayla is
Yes.
my right hand woman, like
Yes.
my assistant. So this is how, like, people don't understand sometimes that building a business, and we'll talk about personal branding, business
Mm-hmm.
sales a little bit, but I kind of want to like bring this up because there is so many skills that you have to have
Mm-hmm.
in order to grow a business. And I remember when you came along, you were actually teaching me kind of how to tell you what I needed,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Because you already had one or two clients, I believe, like
Yeah.
before me. And
Right.
you were like, well, with my other client, we do it this way. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I was like, yeah, sure. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
None of us know what we're doing in the beginning, right? Like, Asley was my first client. That's who connected us.
Oh,
And
yes, yes, which
yeah,
I'm still connected with her.
I know she's so sweet. She just had a baby. Like, I need to
Yes.
reconnect with her. But anyway, yeah, I love that point of like, yes, you just figure it out as you go. You have to keep going because neither of us would have made it to 5 years if we were like, no, I don't want to do this anymore.
If like, oh, it's too hard.
Yeah, right. It's
And it
hard.
is.
It is
And
hard.
it is.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, Atsy, this is the first question I ask all of my podcast guests in the podcast cafe. What is your go-to coffee order?
Soy milk latte at
Mm,
Starbucks. Now, I'm going to say, I have a new guilty pleasure.
okay.
We have this super fancy bougie espresso machine in my house. So
Okay.
we kind of stopped doing Starbucks like on the daily. We still go once
Yeah.
in a while, but like we stopped doing Starbucks on the daily. And now we made affogatos. And
Yum.
we're like, yeah, we need to up our workout.
Literally. Literally. Which you have no problem with. You are a triathlete. You
I know, but it's still,
killer.
girl, like if you drink ice cream with coffee every single day, it's like,
It's so funny. Oh
but
my gosh.
that's my guilty pleasure right now,
Okay.
affogatos.
I haven't had one of those in a long time, so maybe I'll have to make one later today.
Yeah, you do.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we're here to talk all about the BU Brand podcast. So, why don't you tell us about when you started it and who it's for?
Okay, so Be Brand Podcast is for the women that want to build that $1 million personal brand, but they want to do it as 100% who they are. They probably have been listening to other podcasts or other coaches. They're like, you have to do it this way and you have to do it that way. And they're like, what the fuck? This doesn't feel aligned.
Hmm.
But also, we discuss a lot of inner work, a lot of mindset. I just recently started a tapping series, like a EFT
Oh,
tapping
yeah.
series. And the reason for that is because the Be Brand podcast is about becoming more of who you are so you can build a brand, a business, and a life that you fucking love.
Hmm. Yeah. And so you didn't start your business with the podcast. You built the business, you were doing a lot of live launches, and the podcast came, what, about 2 years ago?
About 2 years ago, we're about to turn 2 years. But what happened was, while I love creating content for Instagram and I
Yeah.
love like going live, for example, and stuff like that, one of the things that I realized is I go on rants. But in rants that people really get into, right? Like when I'm talking maybe about mindset, or maybe I'm like, girl, you're not fucking selling. You think you're selling, but like I go to your Instagram and the last time you talk about your program was like 2 weeks ago. No,
Hmm.
like people need to listen from you and they need to listen from your program in this way, this way, this way, like this many times, right? In order to even be top of mind. I'm like, okay, where is the place for me to truly go into these runs where my people are learning from me, but also they're getting the courage to do it, right? The
Yeah.
whole concept of being more of who you are is most of us, we grow into that, right? We come out of our parents' house, then we are young and fabulous and we're partying, whatever. But then we go into adulthood, and then you get to your 30s and you're like, oh, I don't even know who you are. And you start over.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my woman. My woman is the woman that is like, okay, maybe I went into motherhood, I left a corporate job, and now I definitely don't want to go into corporate again. How do I build a brand, and actually a brand that I love? And I think that is why I decided to start the podcast, and like I fucking love it.
Yeah. And I think your audience really loves it too because they are the ones who are coming to, they're consuming all of your social media content, which is great, by the way.
Thank you.
And they're coming to your live launches and they're coming to your webinars and the podcast. Tell me if I'm wrong, but it's just a place to further build their trust and have them learn from you before they buy from you.
And for me, what has happened, it was very natural, because the feedback that we were getting from the launches was like, oh
Mm-hmm.
my God, like I learned so much from it. And not everybody buys on every
Right,
launch. Like,
right.
and some people need more nurture. And like we have a few other systems now that where how we bring clients and stuff. But for me, there is a very strong like desire that not only the people that buy from me is the people that I'm here to impact,
Yeah.
right? So I think there is women out there that they still are building a brand. They're not ready to invest in their business. Maybe they're not ready to go all in or whatever, but I still have that desire of like being that bridge for them, because
Yeah.
also most of my people are in the first 3 years of business. So even right now, which is kind of a full circle moment, I am helping somebody that works in the casino industry. She came to me and she's like, I've been watching you for so long. You have
Yeah.
been like, I didn't even know her. And she's
Wow.
like, I knew that you used to be a bartender. And she's like, I don't know what I want to do. These are my skills. Can you help me? And this is not something that I would normally do.
Mm-hmm.
My people in the academy are already like, they've been in business for about a year or so. And now they're like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I need help. But this person like is working with me one-on-one, and we literally were at zero launching her business, and she was listening
Yeah.
to my podcast.
Oh, I love
How
that.
fucking empowering is that?
So empowering. Like someone's coming to you to learn the foundations of business.
She's like, I heard your story, you did what I want to do, can you help
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
And I think that we have to remember where we come from,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think the podcast is such a beautiful way to kind of like put that history out there.
Totally. Totally. I love that story. And for the listeners, you used to be a flair bartender in Vegas, which is
Yeah.
so fun. But tell us personal brand is this whole thing, right? Like how to show up. And that's what you help the students of your academy with. But how has a podcast helped you build your personal brand more?
So, okay, so let's actually talk a little bit about this, because I think that late last year, I did this massive market research on my Instagram, my podcast, my email
Yeah.
list. Like I literally started asking like, what do you think of when you hear personal branding or personal brand?
Mm.
Because I wanted to understand what my women were associating personal brand with. And this is a scary. About 75% of these people said posting on social media.
Wow.
And the way I teach personal branding, and you know this, but your audience doesn't, is while social media is a part of building your brand, actually, I don't believe that that's how you build a brand. You build a brand by creating community, you build a brand by having a podcast where people can actually connect with you and your thoughts and your values, and you are actually also giving a space to other people. And I know not everybody has guests. I don't like right now, I'm in a season of having a lot of guests, but like
Yeah.
sometimes I go through, I don't want to have any guests or whatever. But that is actually part of my personal brand, right? Like I'm a manifesting generator, and I go with my gut. I talk about intuition, and I hold space for other people for the same. And I think that like when you have a podcast, people can connect with you at a level that they can never connect with you through a 3-second interaction, no matter
Right.
how much you post on social media.
100%.
And for the women that are heart center, and I'm going to say with all the love, part of a strong personal brand is your own clarity, right? If you don't know who you are, who you serve, what is the transformation that you offer, and like how actually you're giving people that transformation, that clarity is for you, but it's also for your ideal client when they hear you, when they listen to you. So for me, one of the things that has been amazing about the podcast is people will reach out to me and they're like, hey, I'm ready to go on the academy. Like, because they have been listening to the podcast, then they go to my social media, now they see all these testimonials or whatever, and these are people that maybe I saw them on my Instagram once, and they send you a DM or they book a call and they're like, oh, I know what you do.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
sold. You don't need
Right.
to fucking convince anybody.
Yeah. Right. No, because your podcast is working in the background for you. Like,
And this is a cool thing about the podcast, which is mind blowing to me. My podcast, I don't really promote it that much. Some weeks, like, it's almost like the tree that keeps giving.
yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Totally.
Because I'm like, I am not, you know how like some people are an episode every fucking Tuesday. And we are consistent. Don't get me wrong. We
Yeah.
are consistent. However, I am not the most consistent person. And I know friends of mine that post like 2 episodes a week or stuff like that. I don't. I
Yeah.
do 1 episode a week. Sometimes I forget. Sometimes I go on vacation, right? But I think that there is something about people that come into your world, including your clients, that the podcast is something they can share with people. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I was listening to my coach and she was talking about this or whatever, right? And that is what for me was mind blowing because I wasn't expecting that to happen at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a business coach. I listen to her podcast every week. And I know my clients listen to my podcast too to hear, what other podcasters have to say. It really is that community aspect.
The community, and I think that is a trust aspect, right? So for example, we are starting right now to open wait lists and kind of like first registration for our mastermind, right? And so I have an episode that is going to come out that talks about, okay, why did I decided to do this mastermind, right? Why does it make sense after the Vibrant Academy? And literally what I'm thinking of when I'm creating that podcast is my current clients, but there is other people that are actually going to listen to that podcast again, right? Also, right? So there is so many layers of how you can nurture your people for the next thing, and you can bring new people. And also, actually, I don't do this, but I heard this and I would love your input. So we went to an event yesterday at the podcast studio, something here in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy was saying that he invites people to his podcast studio. He records and it's all beautiful, right? He's like, but I invite them because I want to see if we vibe and to see if they are the right fit for us or whatever. And then we give them the content. We're like, hey, here it is, you can use it. We give them some shorts, and sometimes when they are not the good fit, we still give them the shorts or whatever. We never post the thing, but like he's like, is the best way, instead of doing a connect call, you actually are recording a podcast with somebody and that person is telling you all about who they are, what they do, all the things. I'm like, and I don't do that, but I thought, okay, that's an interesting concept.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I go to a ton of networking events here in Seattle and even some virtual ones like Entrepreneurista. I'm a part of that.
Oh my God. You need to tell me all about it because I've been looking at it.
I know. I think it'd be great for you, honestly. But I meet a lot of people in there, and it's hard to get people on connection calls sometimes. So I'll invite them onto my podcast because everyone loves to talk about themselves and their business. And so it's like a recorded connection call. So I don't necessarily do it to see if they're like a client fit, but I just want to like get to know people more.
Yeah.
And it's a win-win for both of us because I don't have to record a solo episode that week and they get to talk about their business. So
Well, and I think one of the things that I love about podcast recording with other women in my case
mhm.
is I get to spread the word about women that they are creating something heart center in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Truly. Like truly from their heart. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
What are your best tips for personal branding for podcasters? I see a lot of
Ooh.
podcasts put their content out there and are kind of lacking on their personal brand. So what tips do you have for them?
So I think that it's a layer question.
Mm-hmm.
So, and actually, you may not agree with this, but I actually think, though, that people start with a podcast a little bit too early when they do not have a audience. So,
I
one of the
agree.
things that people think is that all these people are gonna come to their podcast, but you actually have to promote it. You
Mm-hmm.
have to have support because it takes time to do it. So I have seen, and I actually have clients that came from coaches doing this, like, oh, we're gonna create your website and your podcast and this, and I'm like, hey, how many clients are you working with? Oh, no, I don't have any clients yet. And I think that also even podcasting takes time until you know how do you like to interview people. Becoming good at interviewing people. Like me, I'm a talker, so I don't have a problem, but sometimes I'm pulling teeth to get like shit out of people on my
Yeah,
podcast
totally.
that are actually amazing at what they do. And I'm like, that is not the answer I'm looking for. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know how to tell you this.
Right.
but I think one of the personal branding tips is create a community first. And when you actually already have your offer, so have your offer ready, have a little bit of a community. You don't need thousands and thousands of followers, but you need to have some sort of audience that actually wants to hear from you. So it's almost like you have a proof of concept,
Yeah.
right? Okay, this is already what I'm doing. Like imagine my girl, right? Like the one that it's at series starting right now. Her business might pivot 3 times before she creates her coaching program,
Mm-hmm.
right? So people are not going to know what you are about if you haven't go through that trial and error. And while you
Yeah.
can pivot the podcast, usually the podcast people are very loyal and they're there for that one reason. So if not, you're going to have to rebuild your whole shit again. Right.
Yeah.
So I think that really being in a position where the podcast becomes super fucking fun and you know your voice, but then at the same time, you're growing your voice with the podcast, but you're not talking to the void.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. Like, one of the first things I ask anyone who wants a podcast is like, who are you talking to? Because it should be the same as who your clients are. And if you don't know who you want your clients to be, then it
It's
might
not
not
time
be,
for the
it's
podcast.
not time yet.
Girl, I feel like some people like, oh my God, I want to start a podcast. I'm like, oh, that they are already established, right? And I'm like, that's a great idea. So tell me more. Oh, I want the podcast to be about XYZ, but their business is about, I'm like,
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's the
what?
number one thing I help people with is connecting their podcast to their business. It sounds silly, but truly a lot of people do what you just said.
I think it sounds obvious to you and me,
Right.
right? We've been doing this for quite a minute now.
Yeah.
And okay, so I'm going to give you an example. When we had the first mastermind, so I don't know if you even know that I have this. So we have the Ascension Mastermind where people come in, they write a book, they go on a podcast tour, and they speak on stage at my event at the end of the year.
Cool.
So basically, is kind of like the next step after you went through the academy, you have your offer, you've been working with clients. So the first year that I ran the mastermind, and mea culpa here, right? Like I'm like, I didn't truly know what I was doing. One of the things that happened was I couldn't get the people to connect the dots between the book chapter and their business. So your story, when it comes to your business, same with the podcast, needs to connect to what you sell, needs to
Mm-hmm.
connect, if you want to call it, to your overall content pillars, right?
100%. Yeah.
And I'm like, and people are telling, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, like their childhood stories. Okay, how did that story shape who you are today and how you actually serve your client? The
Yeah.
same for the podcast.
I agree with you. I That's what I see a lot of the time in the podcast space, and I see that a lot of, and I'm sure you see that a lot in people's personal brands when they're creating an offer that might be high ticket, but their brand doesn't match or
Yeah.
whatever it is. So,
And I want to say something else when it comes to the personal branding and the podcast.
mhm,
I think this is kind of like how it has worked for me too. It has allowed me to catapult that authority also as a speaker, because part of you building your personal brand, right, is closing that circle. And I'm going to
mhm,
say what it is. So you have like that clarity, then you have your offer. That's kind of the business strategy between you and your personal brand. The
yeah,
personal brand is what gives people that trust. It gives you that authority. It puts you in front of people. People know you for that one thing, right? For me, now it's personal branding. I don't know if you know this, but we did photography at the end of last year. I don't
I
offer.
didn't.
Yeah. So, but that
Okay.
was part of it, was a very deliberate decision, because
Yeah,
where I'm going, photography didn't fit. I love photography, but it didn't fit.
yeah,
Right? Like me on stages in front of hundreds of people, and then I'm here like doing little photo shoots. That just didn't
yeah,
fit.
totally.
It was hindering my personal brand more than it was actually growing it. So the point here is everything needs to work as a clockwork, right?
Mhm.
So you have your offer, you have your topics that you talk about that actually are the same things that are supporting your offer. And then when it comes to the personal brand, if you want to become a really good speaker, start a fucking podcast. And actually, I'm going to say this with all the love, listen to your own podcast.
Yes. Yes.
It was so painful for me to listen to the first few episodes. I was like, oh, yeah, no, no, hell no.
Mhm. It's
But
kind of humbling.
it's very humbling. Also, it's kind of like when people tell you, I look at my videos on Instagram and I don't like to see my face, whatever. You need to come to terms. This is how people see you, how people hear you every single day. And whatever it is that you want to change and become better, the best way to get better, listen to yourself, film yourself, look at yourself, pick at yourself in a loving way and constructive way, and then go and put it out in the world.
Yes. I love that tip. You have an event coming up. Tell us all about it.
So, okay, so the Be You Brand Live conference, it's happening September 25th, 26th, 27 in Las Vegas. And I'm going to say, if you are a connector, if you are a woman, then you know that your business is working right now. Like you're doing okay, right? You're working with a client here and there, but you're also dealing with a lot of the self-doubt, the I don't know. Maybe you're even struggling to put yourself in social media. This is the room for you.
Mhm.
We're not only gonna teach you how to build that personal brand. We're gonna be talking about sales. We're gonna be talking about social media. We're actually gonna be talking about podcasting, but we're also going to be talking about money and building community. And those are the themes for this year. And I know we're kind of like going over the time, but I'm going to tell a little story. And I feel like you're going to actually really feel this from me because you know me from the beginning.
Yeah.
When my business really started to make money, and I'm going to say maybe the first $3,000 a month, I remember thinking, oh my God, when I get to 5,000, I'm going to feel safe.
Mm.
Then my business got to 5,000. I was like, oh my God, when I get to 10,000, I'm going to feel safe. And we got there too. And I remember thinking, oh my God, when I get to 15,000, I'm going to feel safe. And then we kept growing. We have grown a fucking lot.
Mm-hmm.
But this is very humbling story. We had at some point an $80,000 month. And I remember thinking, oh my God, this money is going to go away so fast. And immediately I had a revelation. I was like, it's not the money. It's my mindset and my feelings and my shit thoughts about money.
Mm-hmm.
I've been feeling shitty about money ever since I started my business. And I remember thinking, this will end right now. Whatever I need to do to have this end will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I started working with somebody that does something called money breath work. I also started my own practice, like kind of like with tapping and journaling about money. And I started like really applying a lot of other things that I applied to my life to my relationship with money. It changed. And what I realized it was that a lot of my clients are going through the same. And a lot of the people that I coach or come to my events, they go to the same. And until you don't heal that relationship with money, it's never about the money. You don't feel good enough because it's innate. So that is what we're going to be working on. So we're going to have money breath work. We're having some somatic shit going on in there. This is not the kind of event that you're going to sit and leave with notes and homework and more shit in your plate. And I'm actually putting about 10, and I'll say about because I'm about to confirm 2 more people that are building community all around the country, from people that own networking organizations to people that have built businesses like mine or events in a completely different way. So women can learn. So I am bringing all these women to teach women how to actually build community, how to build relationships, how to answer to a fucking DM when you went to a networking event and that doesn't feel salesy, right? But you can still close sales by building community. So while we're going to teach you to build a personal brand, those are the core pillars. And my whole thing is the transformation is going to happen in the room. You're going to leave the room with the connections, with the connect calls, with literally a new mindset around money, because I know that in my way to $500,000, those were the things that made the most difference. So that's what I'm bringing to Be Your Brand Live in September.
That's so exciting. Where can people find more information on that?
So my name, atigrinspun.com/Be Your Brand. If they go to the website, that will come out. My Instagram, DM me, like Ati Grinspun. Also, we just opened an event Instagram, so Be Brand Live. That one has its baby account. It has under 1,000 followers. So if you want to follow us there, we love you. Come and that is about the community. That is about the podcast. That is about like promoting other women. That is about all these things that they were convoluting my own personal account, and I was like, but I want to do this. I want to shout out Haley, right? And I want to be like, oh my God, like I've known you for so long. I'm so fucking proud of you. Right. So that is the whole point of that account. So come hang out with us.
Amazing. I'll put all those links in the show notes. I'm so proud of you too, Ati. We've been like on this journey almost together. So yes. I don't know. We're killing it. We're killing it.
We are doing truly what we are here to change the world in our own way, with our own magic. And you're the light, my friend.
Oh, so are you. Thank you so much for being on my show. It's been so fun.
I am so honored. And this was a long time coming, so I'm super excited.
Me too. Thank you so much for joining me in the Podcast Cafe. I hope you're leaving with fresh ideas and inspiration to take your podcast to the next level. Remember, podcasting is a journey and you don't have to do it alone. I'm here to help you every step of the way. Let's connect. Be sure you follow me on Instagram at Espresso Podcast Production or visit espressopodcastproduction.com for more tips, resources, and behind-the-scenes insights. I'd love to hear about your podcasting journey. If you've enjoyed today's episode, make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling extra generous, I'd love it if you could leave me a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It helps more podcasters just like you find the show. Until next time, grab your coffee, keep creating, and I'll see you back here in the Podcast Cafe.